Thank you for coming to the David Barnett Gallery this evening. We have a very special guest artist that's going to speak about her work, and we're very excited to introduce Cynthia Torroll, and here she is. Yay!
Well, thank you everybody, thank you David and staff. These guys are amazing. I've never done this before, except for, let's see, my nephew, he was 9 years old. They asked me to speak for his third grade class. And that was the only artist talk I've ever given. And I taught everyone how to draw an eye. And after that, I got a big trunk full of letters going, thanks to you, I can now draw decent eyes. I'm not going to make you guys draw eyes tonight, but I wanted to start off with something that will help you understand my art, or what was kind of like the biggest influence on me. So, but I'm going to ask you all to close your eyes for a second, okay? Close your eyes. Wait till I tell you to open them. All right. That's my great-grandmother. Her name is Anna. And wherever she was in a room, she was looking at you. She saw everything you did. Always. You could not escape her. That's Anna. This was my great-grandmother, and when my sister and I were really little, we would stay over at my grandmother's house, and the room that we stayed in had a big portrait of Anna right in the center in this very interesting frame. And my sister, oh, do you guys want to come in and have a seat? Have a private seat? There's some seats over here too if you want. Want to sit down?
They're afraid.
I know him. That's my nephew. But you didn't meet your great-grandmother Anna. This is the reason I started to draw. Yeah, he needs to know because this is in his lineage. And so this woman would freak out my sister so much that she couldn't sleep in the same room, or if she wanted to sleep, she would make me go get a tea towel from Grandma's kitchen, and we would drape it over Anna's face so that Kathy could sleep. But to me, I was just obsessed with the fact that, I loved the fact that everywhere you looked, she continued to see you. And I was very taken with the power of the direct gaze. And I just think it's one of the most powerful forms of communication that we have as humans. And so every time I create something, excuse me, I have to have it looking at me. And I think of her. I also think of the fact that her expression, this is a woman that had a lot of hardship in her life. And at the time that this was taken, she had 11 children. Bellissimo! I'll rewind for him. This is an old friend. We gotta make sure he gets to sit down. Thank you for coming. Come on in. I just started. He has his work in this gallery too. Come on in. This is Dennis Felber.
Come up front.
An incredible artist. Dennis, I was just telling everybody that this was like the impetus of me drawing to have people stare at you, to have my work stare at you. This is my great-grandmother, Anna.
Oh, wow.
And when I was really little, she was hanging in the bedroom where my sister and I would sleep over. And Kathy would go like this. Look, she's looking at us. She's still looking at us. And it just would freak her out so much. But I love that, and I love the power of that. So, as you can see, okay, let's bye to my great-grandma. Eyes have been the focal point of my work all along. This is, of course, got two faces in it, but for the longest time, I just drew black and white pencil. And I drew, and I drew, and I drew, until my neck and shoulders couldn't handle it anymore. You know, people think that drawing is really light and simple, but if you are wanting to give it any kind of depth or darkness, you have to really muscle in. And I had a hard time with my shoulders, and so I couldn't really draw that much anymore. I don't draw that much anymore. What I do is this kind of thing. I have a lot of, I like to revisit things. And this piece is actually a mirror. Now, if you see like maybe little bits, you can still see the actual mirror behind it. But I like to repurpose stuff that, if you know my work and you know my drawings, you're gonna see a number of pieces repeat themselves or come back and be revisited. And maybe have some kind of different life or different form. Okay, right here, this woman right here, she's on the other side of the wall. She's gonna make an appearance here. And this is a face that I drew over and over and over for a couple of years and was sort of obsessed with it. And this is one of the more recent pieces. This I can do kind of more upright. And with ink, obviously you don't want to press real hard. You don't have to press real hard. If you do, you're going to get a nice blob. So it is something that's easier physically to do than the pencil is. I still do pencil once in a while. I did one that David just sold a piece of, the one that The Presence is called. And ironically, the last two pieces I've done, I close their eyes. So I'm kind of trying to do an experiment to see how much emotion I can still get from a piece without it looking at you now, with more of the piece either being more in its environment or just another take. So obviously I think a lot too. I'm kind of an overthinker. And you'll see that's what this is all about. All the letters and numbers and that's a little snapshot of my brain and my head. This is an actual original drawing that never made it in a frame. And I had it in my drawing room for the longest time. And I wanted to be part of this, sort of anchored on. So yeah, that's kind of that's kind of my spiel.
I'll take it.
I'm self-taught, and I am mostly self-taught because I had a hard time in college. I had a lot of problems with panic attacks, and I had to leave school after one semester. But I have slowly found my way back into the world, even though my radius is, you know, I've got a 20-mile radius, and that's about it. That's my comfort zone. And it just so happened that David's gallery is definitely in my comfort zone.
And at another 10 miles,
Right.
because we're going to be related.
Oh, really?
I'll pick you up.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Okay, I'll do that. I can do that. If it's with people that I know, then I'm comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was very, very influenced in high school. I had a great high school art teacher, Earl Kittleson. He was a painter here in Milwaukee for quite a long time. And he was very, very supportive. Also my brother Jim, right in the middle there. He is a good artist. Jim and I both had Kittleson as our art instructor. And when he saw my work, he was like, I'm not gonna do anything with you. I want to leave you alone. You just do your thing. And he called it Lundism. My maiden name is Lund. And he just let me do whatever I wanted to do. And he did that with you too, didn't he, Jim?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He let us do whatever we want.
Jim's got it too. But he doesn't do as much with it. He's not as obsessive as me.
I'm all done.
Yeah. he did his most of his life in graphic arts. He's like the king of Photoshop back there. So yeah, I was very, very taken with that, and I remember seeing a movie that he showed us in class of Picasso painting on glass, and I was just kind of gobsmacked over that. I thought, wow, look at that, just, and then boom. And he had that playfulness about him and that innovative side that really, really influenced me. I thought, I want to do that. And then that's kind of it. I went through most of my life as in graphic arts and a creative director for a company down the street. Again, in my little comfort zone. That's where I met people like Dennis. Dennis is an incredible sculptor. Neon, I hired him to do neon for a cafe. And then I met people back there. These women were in a collective with me. Nova, a painter, a muralist. She's my niece. And Miranda too. So yeah. So I just want to open up to questions.
Question.
Yes.
On the mirror piece, do you conceptualize ahead of time what you're going to do, or is it kind of like as you make it, it kind of tells you what's next and how to go?
I knew that I wanted to have a head kind of splattering information. So I started there, and then it became a little logistical nightmare a few times, because with a collage, you have to decide what's going to go under and what's going to go over.
Of course.
So I would try to keep things loosely tacked, because if I wanted to tuck a side under and tuck. So that one just kind of kept evolving as I went. And then at the very end is when I have a lot of fun. Once I get all the elements in the spots that I want, then I go over it all with more ink and dots. Dots. Dots are very, very meditative for me. It's very soothing. And I listen to a lot of books on tape and podcasts and music. And so it's just really fun. It's just fun. I just have to be, engaged with it.
What kind of pens or markers do you use for your dotting?
You want to
Specifically.
repeat the questions
Oh.
so the people can hear?
Oh, sure. She wanted to know what kind of pens I use. I use specifically Posca pen. They're made by, I believe it's Mitsubishi. It's a Japanese manufacturer. And Posca are they're real long lasting. And I kind of went away from the camera, didn't I? I hate cameras. Posca pens have a very, very consistent point to them too, which is great. When you're dotting, you can go a long time just rat-a-tatting your way all the way through. And then occasionally you have to give them a shake. John will come up and he goes, "Oh, I can tell you're working on something because you're usually shaking my pens." You're always like, "Clink, clink, 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 clink."
Do you ever
And I
get a
just slam
splat?
my
Will they splat ink?
Oh, at times. Once in a while they'll do that. You gotta be careful.
Or block?
Disaster. Yeah.
Very rarely. That's what's so nice about that pen is it's just really, but then I also found some others that are less expensive and they do a nice job too. They're more of a metallic kind of cast to them. I don't think I have that much of that on here. a lot of the papers that I used on this are like holographic type materials, and I got them when I used to work at McDill Design down the street, again, just within my little radius. And McDill did a lot of work in packaging design. We did a lot of work for the breweries. And I don't know if you notice, a lot of alcohol labels have shiny, So we got a ton of these samples of different substrates that we would use to mock up actual packaging. And then when they were done, they were gonna throw them all out. I'm like, I'll take them. So I got a ton of paper and things. Some of these papers and things are things that I collected 25 years ago that I just liked. And then you never know when you're going to want or when it's gonna fit and work. And that's what's so fun about finding a home for something that's you have forever.
You work on more than one piece at once?
Yes, but generally focus one at a time. But lately, I have usually 2 or 3 things going at different times, and then that helps. It helps me physically because if I'm doing too much where I'm hunched over and my head's projected out, my neck is gonna be very upset with me. So I'll rotate and move around. And I put a table in my drawing room now so that I can work on things like this there. And I can kind of work on it as a puzzle and just drop something in for a while. If I get tired of it, then I go jump onto something else.
How long did it take to do this?
This one took, I would say this took about 4 to 5 months. Because it did go through a number of different iterations. I thought it was done at one point, and then I had to let it sit for a while, and then all of a sudden I'll get another idea and I think, ooh, I think I need to add a few more weeks worth of work.
You photograph your work as they're in progress?
I do, yeah. Yeah, and actually with this one,
Do videos?
With this one, I had some fun where I was making some reels for Instagram where I would speed up my dotting. So my dotting's fast, but then I would speed it up like 2 or 3 times faster. So it's like, and you could see, a whole section of it coming to life within 30 seconds.
Yes. You said that's a drawing and you don't do much drawing anymore. Did you invent her or did you have a model?
This was, I did see her face somewhere.
You did?
Yes, it was reference. But then I'm not really great at direct portraiture. If I were to do a direct portrait, someone might go, what did you do to my nose? So it's always a little altered.
I keep thinking she's a familiar visage. Anybody else recognize her?
She might be in there.
She definitely, here she is again. See right here?
Yep.
That's her, right there.
Oh,
Okay.
that's where you recognize her.
And
So do you ever, as part of your process, do you ever maybe do like writing about your work or prior to starting something or during? Or maybe dreams? Is there any of that gets sort of brought in as part of the overall process of what you do?
definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of synchronicity that's also woven in. There's things that, like I'll be very compelled to make something like this, and I won't know really why at the time, except that I'll have like the idea of, okay, the face is both sides. It's being able to see the perspective of that and this. It's living with duality. It's living in a world that can be really harsh and being a very sensitive, sentient being in it. And so there's always these conflicting sides. It's a lot of conflict. And I find that something will just come to me real quickly. Like I meditate mostly because I have a very high-strung nervous system and I need to unwind every day. And during meditation, a lot of times a word or an image will pop in. And sometimes it'll be exactly what I needed at that juncture. Or I'll just suddenly go, there's a vase on top of her head. Of course there is. And look, there's like Alibaba's popping out of it. So things will pop up, and then like I'll mention something to John, we'll watch a movie or something, and all of a sudden the word will just show up, like an hour or two later. It's just this weird kind of wavelength. I don't even know how to describe it. I do write at times. I like to write. I spent about a whole year just writing a number of years back, just weird poetry. And I have written, there's little bits of writing that I've accompanied most of the pieces that David has here in the gallery that explain a little bit more about each piece. But a lot of them are very influenced by books and things that, most of the stuff that I'm trying to figure out in life, trying to just get by.